the 18 different SNPs that we're testing here at Uforia, some refer to them as the power SNPs, and they're dialed in specifically. Why do we choose those 18 when there's so many different SNPs that are out there?
Well, and that's a great question, because I've had people, they always say that to me. Well, I found a test that tests for 50 times more SNPs. And I think what's important to understand is scientists have guessed, and I say guessed, very correctly, actually, they have guessed that we may have up to 10 million SNPs in the human genome, right? Like, that's an astronomical amount of SNPs. But if you think that we're 99% the same and only 1% difference, right now, all of a sudden you go, well, why would I want to test for 10 million SNPs if only 1% of those actually have any bearing on health and disease? And so what we found is, as much as we haven't even identified what those 10 million are, first of all, but let's say hypothetically we do, we might only find that a few dozen of those SNPs actually have A, any kind of research behind them, but B, actually have any bearing on health and disease. So there's no point in testing for SNPs that have no research behind them, that are not actionable, that have no bearing on our health and disease. What's the point of testing them? And I've actually worked with labs like this where we run a test and you get results back and it's sort of like, well, good luck. Good luck to you. And it's like, well, dude, you're leaving me hanging here. Like, what the hell am I supposed to do, right? So, so that's where I think the power of what we're testing here is just invaluable, because we're taking 18 SNPs that have a lot of research behind it. We're pairing them with nutraceuticals that have research behind it, that have been proven to optimize and improve the way that these SNPs function. And we're going to be adding a few more as we move forward here. We're definitely going to be adding some more SNPs. But the idea here is not to include 500 SNPs and then download you with a 1,000-page PDF and wellness report. Like, it's just not practical. So the 18 SNPs that we've chosen actually cover a wide spectrum in terms of health and wellness and disease. And that's going to give you the best bang for your buck and have the biggest impact in your health and wellness.
That's awesome. So we're testing 18 different SNPs, and the simplest way to describe it would be we're looking for genetic dispositions or flaws that are passed down from your mother and father. Is that a fair way to
Yeah,
okay.
I think like the way I look at it is just glitches, right? So genetic glitches, let's put it that way, yeah.
And so once we get once we do this test, and by the way, you're doing a swab test and you're sending that away to the lab, and the lab is HIPAA certified, so it is their policy or privacy policy is protected. I believe that within a matter of 60 days, they have to completely dispose of your information. There's a lot of regulation around how or what they can do with that information. So if you're worried about your information being shared or sold, you never have to worry about that. So we send the test off to the DNA. They're testing these, and then you get a 35-page wellness report that really outlines the results of your test.
Right.
And there's some lifestyle recommendations in there. And then it also gives you an idea of what your customized formulation looks like. Is that correct?
That's right, yeah. So in that 35-page PDF, there's obviously some generic stuff where, what are SNPs? What is DNA? Do I need to get retested? So there's some stuff that everyone is going to get. But what you're going to find that's very, very customized is your list. So there's a one-page summary of your SNPs, so your genetic glitches. And basically, you get a green light if that gene is awesome, and so there's no glitch or no variation. You get a yellow or amber light if there's one variation. So in other words, mom or dad gave you one glitch. Okay, just keep it in lay terms here. And then, of course, you get a red light if both parents gave you a glitch for that particular SNP, right? So that's the summary. So you get a one-page summary. And then what's really cool is the genes themselves, the SNPs themselves are broken down. So you get a full page per SNP, which basically says, what does the SNP do? What is it involved with? Why is it important? What dietary measures can help? And then, of course, the nutraceuticals that have been chosen, so the actual nutrients, whether they be isolated nutrients or plant nutrients or whatever, it shows you why we've chosen those. And then there's scientific references next to them, which you'll find at the bottom of the report, that basically says, hey, you know what? We chose green tea extract because it was shown to improve the SNP. And here's a reference to a study down below where you can actually, if you want to geek out, you can go and look at that. And then right at the bottom of the report, what you're going to find is you will find your customized Ütrition formula. You're actually going to find the ingredient list. You're going to see exactly what blends have been put in for your SNP. And that's basically your unique formula made just for you.